What's up, everyone? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. Today, we're talking some college football bets ahead of Week 5, the Saturday slate. This is the condensed version. We're just going to talk a couple big games. If you want full betting breakdowns for most of the games on the slate, myself, Ben Raza, we broke it down on Betting You on this very channel. Click the videos, search back, you will find it. It is in-depth. This is just the biggest games or some of the biggest values. Kind of take some liberties with it. We're brought to you by Bet365. They have a good deal for you if you live in Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Virginia, Iowa, Colorado, Louisiana, Indiana, Arizona, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. What you'll do is click the link below, make your first deposit of at least $5. Bet $5 on any game, win or lose, could be a total or a side. You'll get $200 in the form of bonus bets. You must be 21 or older to play, 18 in Kentucky. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so we got to talk about Alabama and Georgia, and I'm going to show you Odd Shopper. This is crazy right now, happening live. So I don't know where this is going to settle, but where did we go? There we go. So we're up at the top, right? There's no consensus on this game. Alabama has been getting pounded in the market recently. There's still +2s available at -115 at Caesars, +1s at DraftKings, +1.5 at FanDuel. And on the Georgia side, there's a +1 at BetMGM. So that's because they've already moved this to -1. You can and other books have pulled it. You can find this basically number at any side total you want if you have a preference. The total in the game, that's a different story. Currently, that sits at 49.5, pretty much consensus. For the game itself, I'll go back to the preseason ratings for these two teams. We had Georgia ahead of Alabama, not by a lot. But I do think Georgia is a team that you can buy low on. When you look at what these two teams have played so far, Alabama's been in a bunch of blowouts. And Wisconsin's supposed to be a competitive game. Unfortunately, they lost their signal caller midway through. So it ended up being not as competitive as perhaps it could have been. I'm not a big Van Dyke fan to begin with. But Georgia hasn't played at full strength this year. They're expected to get some guys back on defense in the front seven. Michael Williams, Warren Brinson, Jordan Hall. They were all described as hopeful by Kirby Smart, so watch them. I'm not sure. You're probably going to get more information come game time. Alabama's basically fully healthy. The only guys they were really missing, at least of consequence, Malachi Moore and Quay Russaw, both are expected back. I still have some concerns with the Bama offensive line. They were hurt this year. They got back Caden Proctor. That's big, but the right tackle position is still big cause for concern. Their pass blocking metrics leave a little bit to be desired. They're 52nd in pass blocking, 81st in run blocking. Georgia has good defense, and again, we're expecting some of their front seven backs, so that's a concern for me. And then Georgia has a mismatch on offense that they might be able to exploit. First of all, their offensive line has been fine, and even with Tate Ratledge out, they have a former starter who's come in and filled in just fine. Georgia's 10th in pass blocking, 19th in run blocking, so I think they do keep Beck clean. But Alabama is starting a freshman, Zabian Brown, in their secondary, and he has been the weakest link. He's a highly recruited, highly talented player, but he is just young. Outside of him, Damani Jackson hasn't exactly played that well either. Can Beck, Lovett, Bell, Smith, these passing game options take advantage of the secondary? I think they perhaps can. The other thing with both of these teams is they've both been penalized incessantly. 8 penalties per game, that's tied for 106. They're at the same exact margin apiece. I'm debating Georgia. I'm not sure where this settles. I can't get a +1 right now living in Wisconsin. I would be interested in this, though. The only other thing is Bama's currently taking money right now, so if you wait, you might be able to get a better number. But with the current movement, again, not sure where this settles. I am potentially going to take a Georgia side here. I like the +1. If you can maybe even get like a money line, I would be interested in that. Next up, we go to Auburn, taking on Oklahoma. They have moved a lot. This line is currently -1 in most places. ESPN bet this +2.5 is probably not available to most people. It's -150 anyway. -1s in favor of Auburn are completely fine with me. I took a +2.5 early in the week, just being ahead of the market on injuries. Oklahoma, on top of changing quarterbacks, they're down what might be considered the top 4 receivers. Jaleel Farouk's been out for weeks. Deion Burks out. Nick Anderson tried to return last week, hurt again, out. Angelo Anthony can't get over the ACL, out. They're moving defensive backs to receivers. This is a complete mess for Oklahoma for a freshman quarterback making his first start. From there, you have offensive line problems. This has been a huge concern for this team. They're 104th in pass blocking, 121st in run blocking. Auburn plays good defense. This team, it's kept them in games. You know, they have the 10 turnovers over the last 2 games, more on that later. The defense is the reason they haven't gotten absolutely slaughtered in these games. Now you're taking that defense against this offensive line with these receivers against a freshman QB. That matchup I like. Can you get good enough play out of Peyton Thorne or Hank Brown to potentially make this work? Big question, I know, because Oklahoma's been no slouch on defense either. Peyton Thorne has gotten a raw deal. Their coaching staff, I don't know if Hugh Freeze isn't watching tape or he's just tilting his face off and making emotional decisions. Yeah, Peyton Thorne has 5 interceptions. You know how many turnover-worthy plays he has? 2. The receivers deserve a lot of blame for some of these interceptions. Peyton Thorne has quietly played well. We saw these 2 quarterbacks in the same game last week. Hank Brown, atrocious play. He had 3 turnovers. Every one of those was a turnover-worthy play, so he got exactly what was expected. Peyton Thorne came in after Brown was benched and diced up Arkansas's defense. A game they should have won outside of turnovers. They outgained them by over 3 yards per play on each individual play. So you got to buy low on Auburn, sell high on Oklahoma, if you want to even call it that. Just a very injured Oklahoma. I think the -1.5, -1, completely fine. You want to just take the money line, no issues there. This 2.5 is not real. Not very interested in that. All right, I forgot what I was going to do for my last game. So, we're going to BYU taking on Baylor. So BYU, they go on the road, so they don't have any of this Provo magic to deal with, but you can still find +3.5s in the market. That's the number I took against Baylor. Just have a vastly different rating for these 2 teams. And I think preseason expectations are why this has been limited somewhat in terms of the line. Otherwise, BYU potentially could be favored if they had higher preseason expectations. But I don't really see anywhere where these 2 teams are close in any sort of rating. Baylor on defense, they're 76. BYU's 45th. Baylor's 119th in coverage. BYU is a 50.5% pass rate. They got back Darius Lassiter from injury. He's slowly been ramping up. Chase Roberts has been a stud for this offense. The BYU offensive line is quietly awesome too. They have basically a top 20 unit. You look at pass blocking, they're 15th. Run blocking, they're 50th. They're not really trying to run the ball anyway. So great offensive line, good receivers. Retzlaff doing enough. Baylor's defense is not very good. They're 78th overall, 54th against the run, 119th in coverage. So I think BYU can move the ball here. On the other side, I don't know who plays between Sawyer Robertson and Daquan Finn. Daquan Finn's atrocious. If Robertson plays, at least he can kind of game manage his way there. But there's so many concerns with this offense. They keep rotating receivers. Their O-line's a problem, 100th in pass blocking, 96th in run blocking. It's just a revolving door, basically. And then you look at BYU's defense, 38th in balance basically everywhere. 33rd against the run, 31st in coverage. I think the wrong team's favored here. Happily, we'll take a BYU. That'll do it for us. Again, full breakdown over on this very channel on Betting You. Leave a comment if you have a question. Reach out on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Till next time, good luck. We'll see you later.